You found another powerful edition of the Brew. Jersey Joe, I am over there live from Las Vegas, and this time we're talking about auto repair nightmares. Question out on social media is, what is the worst thing ever happened to you in an auto repair shop? What are your nightmares? What are your biggest fears? What's the worst thing that happened to you? Share your stories now, because everybody pretty much, right, has had some issue in an auto shop, at least I think. There's Joel over there in Vegas. There he is. I pushed the button again. And Joel, what's the worst things ever happened to you at an auto repair place?
I really don't have any horror stories, if I'm being honest. I have crazy horror stories about all kinds of other shit, but not auto repair stories. I just have good experiences. But I've spent most of my adult driving here in Vegas, so there's just good service here. I don't know. The worst things that I hear from people are things like when they go in and they kind of don't know what they're talking about. So they try to get a part replaced, and then they get overcharged because the auto repair shop is just trying to gouge them for extra money.
Well, congratulations to Nevada for once again being a better place to live than New Jersey. Because, yeah, I don't know if I necessarily have a really bad one, but I can tell you this: I don't have a vehicle anymore. Living here in the city, I can take mass transit, and there was no reason to pay for it when I wasn't using it. But I had a truck forever, and I used to take it to the dealer back home where I bought it in Pennsylvania. I did for years. But when I moved here to Jersey City, I finally took it to the local Ford dealer here. And the first time I went there, all of a sudden they they did the scanning thing. They put it on the machine. All of a sudden they're like, you need $3,000 worth of repairs. I'm like, wait a minute. No, I don't need $3,000 worth of repairs. Yes, you do. And then they're like, you need new rotors, you need new brakes, you need that. I'm like, first off, I had just had the brakes done not too long before I was there. And I was just there for, the normal oil change thing. That's all I went there for. And all of a sudden they want me to pay this $3,000 bill. And the worst part of this story, while I was there, this was the Saturday before Superstorm Sandy happened here. So the whole town underwater. So everything's closing down. I just want to get an oil change, get the hell out of there. I'd already had it planned for a while for that. But they put me in this room, Joel, and it's so crazy. And they're like, let me show you this mathematical equation of how I can save you money on your truck by getting all these repairs done here now. And I'm like, or let me tell you, we'll put you in a new vehicle that'll cost you even less than just having your vehicle fixed right now. I'm like, I have a truck that's paid off. How can having a car payment all of a sudden save me money? It was just this, the whole thing was so damn shady and it was bad. Jersey City Ford was the name of the place. They're still in existence now, but they were known for kind of the little practices not being good. Bad Yelp reviews. In fact, they had to they sold the place. Somebody else owns it now and had to put under new management signs over it because they were notorious for that. Took another Ford dealer here and they warned me the same thing. Oh yeah, back in the day, they were not all on the up and up. Long story short, there it is. Wasn't that enjoyable?
It's hard to hold companies like that accountable. There's not much you can do about it. So it just sucks that they would try and gouge you that bad.
We got a few of your stories now. They're a little long, but they're pretty good. So let's get to them right now. We'll go to Starman's first. His story is, I get ripped off every time. I know they make their living off fees, but it's ridiculous. Every time I get a repair quote, it ends up being higher, even if it's just an oil change. I miss the days when I could change oil myself in the driveway or make a minor repair. Now the cars are just plastic and computers. You have to take it to the garage for repairs. And of course, there's an extra diagnostic fee. Sure, buddy, take another $40 off of me for plugging my car into a computer. He's right. I know we talked on a previous show, Joel, about all those little extra fees. They add up.
Well, yeah, what is a service fee? I mean, all this shit's just made up anyway. Whatever they add on there, it's all just random shit. Yeah. It's just like when you go into a restaurant now, or DoorDash is a good example. You got the delivery fee, the taxes, the subcharge, or whatever that shit is. And then they have a COVID reimbursement charge. It's all just made up shit. That's exactly what they do.
All right, Rockin' for Guitar, he's got a long story, but I find it interesting, so enjoy the next 45 seconds here. He says, I once bought a Volkswagen Fox, a small car to commute to work, and it was a beautiful spring day. The car was only a month old, and I was driving 70 miles per hour on Route 80 westbound, heading home at 3 p.m. or so. The road was wide open empty, and I decided to swing over from the left lane to the right lane as my exit was a mile ahead of me. As I pulled on the steering wheel, it literally came loose and hit me in the chest. In shock, I took my foot off the accelerator, and thankfully it was on a straightaway. I let the car slow itself down. As it slowed down, I pushed the steering wheel back into position. When I called the dealer. They didn't believe I was telling them and hung up on me. I had to call a tow truck to bring me to the dealer. When I got there, I pulled the steering wheel out and brought it into a dealership full of customers. They were not happy. They believed me then. Turns out the main bolt in the drive shaft was never installed. They repaired the car but never uttered a word about my well-being. You'd think they'd care. I should have told them that I worked for the media afterwards, but I let it go at that. True story. Car salesmen are the very worst. Sad, but I live to see it's true. Now, Joey, can anyone top this story? Ha. Whew, how about that? A car with a steering wheel like a lane change, and hello, steering wheel is now in my lap. Yeah.
Shady Car Salesman. Never heard of that one. No, that's horrible, but it's not that surprising. I really like that you held them accountable by bringing it in and holding the steering wheel in front of the customer stuff.
I kind of would like to see the video of that too, wouldn't you? Like, hey, look what I got.
Then Yelp needs videos. Like Yelp needs videos like that.
Yeah, they do. Oh, we got a counterpoint now on this one, and it's interesting. So Michael writes in, he says, okay, Joe, my biggest repair issues are the idiots that walk in and tell me that they read on Google and proceed to make me how we can fix their car. My response to them is when Google can reach through their website and put their hands on the car and fix it, I will listen to Google. Until then, let the professionals do the repairs. Ooh, so counterpoint, let the professionals do the repairs.
So here's what I do when I go in there. I'll just give you my example because I think this is the best way to do it. When I go in there, I don't tell them anything. Even if I know something's wrong, something specific is wrong with my car, I don't tell them anything. I just say, I need an oil change, or I need, if there's something obvious, like a light's out or something, can I get the light fixed and you just check my car? I ask them. So I ask them. I let them tell me. But I'm pretty practical with my car, and I keep receipts for everything. So as time goes, certain parts need to be replaced, and certain parts don't. So you can weed out kind of who is telling you the truth and who isn't.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's like what I did too. Like, so I knew I was getting ripped off for 3,000 repairs. Well, then I'm like, okay, it's not going to fall apart in the road. So the next oil change, I will just take it to another Ford dealer here in the area. You're not the only shop in town. Like, I'm in a metropolitan area, so I'll just go another 5 minutes over to Secaucus and went to theirs. And it was fine. So, it's like when a doctor gives you an opinion on something. Well, go get a second opinion if you don't trust it.
Right.
All right, there we go. Once again, I feel like we accomplished something on this edition of The Brew. And you will accomplish something when you click on like and subscribe button down below for all the fun here on the Jersey Joe 50 YouTube channel. 4 big shows of fun waiting for you each and every week. Hopefully, too, if you have to take your car to a garage, you don't get ripped off. I'm sorry for people that do. There are some reputable dealers out there. I don't want to sit here and say, like, everyone's a crook. Not saying that. There are some that actually do good. But, I miss the days where you had, like, a nice local place, though, like, you could trust.
Yeah, those mom and pop shops are the ones you take the biggest risk on because they might give you a good deal. Obviously, they're going to give you a better deal than a lot of the big shops, but then you're also putting your hands in the trust of someone who can't really be held accountable. Whereas if you go to Pet Boys, you can hold them accountable. That's a big chain.
Speaking of chains, a lot of Sears department stores are closing. The chain's in a lot of trouble. But do you know that like their auto parts garage is still keeping that chain afloat? So, and I know that's the deal here. Like nobody's shopping at Sears in the mall here, but their auto center, you go here on a Saturday, it's a line of cars out the door. So they figured it out.
Good for them. They're helping people and they're staying in business. Good for them.
And good for you, too, by clicking on like subscribe button down below. All right, Jersey Joe, I am here saying thanks for watching. Be safe out there when you're traveling on those highways, and I'll see you next time, I hope.